We have an absolutely outrageous proposal here with respect to Gaza from a Republican in Congress. Raw Story reports Representative Randy Fine, a Republican of Florida, called for nuclear weapons to be used against Gaza following Wednesday night's shooting of 2 Israeli staffers at the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington. During a Thursday morning interview on Fox News, Fine insisted that, quote, Palestinianism is built on violence. Dude, Randy Fine, more like Randy not so fine. This is not fine at all. This is outrageous. This is horrific, and this is bigoted. And I mean, as if bigotry and just vicious, dehumanizing language weren't enough, he's saying we should do World War II style tactics against Gaza, nuke them, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What on earth is wrong with you? So he says, I mean, we live in a world where the left and the Palestinian cause literally calls for violence against Jews every day, he said. We need to start to call evil for what it is and not make excuses for it. The left and Palestinians call for violence against Jews every day. Literally, he says. He needed to throw the word literally in there because he's a high school sophomore. Literally? Really? Calling for violence against Jews? What about calling for an end to the violence against Palestinians and Gazans? That seems to be what they're doing. And you might argue that some of these protesters go too far. Sometimes they are vicious, and sometimes there is anti-Semitic language used at some of these protests, and they get a little too aggressive. But for crying out loud, this is not what's going on. He is straw-manning his political opponents. He's not steel-manning them. He's taking the worst cases of them, saying, oh, this represents them. They want violence against Jews, and they call for it literally every day. Oh, so scary. We need to call out evil for what it is. I'm going to call out evil for what it is. You're being pretty darn evil here, Randy, not so fine. Calling for just the worst kind of violence against Gaza because you think that they're the violent ones? Fine argued that the shooting speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. Quote, in World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese, he explained. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. Okay, I wonder if he's aware that the nuking of the Japanese is actually pretty controversial. There are some people who still support it today, and they're a bulky number of the population. There are some people even like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, formerly of Fox News, a staunchly right-wing guy, a guy who's flirted with all sorts of right-wing conspiracy theories. He himself has actually said, yeah, I don't really think that nuking Japan was the right thing to do. So he thinks that, oh yeah, actually that was obviously great. And obviously we need to do it to Gaza. Buddy, history would not look back on people who support that fondly. Historians would not look back on that decision fondly. It would be looked at as a total embarrassment, totally barbaric, and totally unhinged. Far worse than the nuking of Hiroshima and Nagasaki ever is going to be. It would be insane. This man does not know what he is talking about. He's giving Marjorie Taylor Greene a run for her money for the most insane member of Congress. Yeah. But this guy is also relatively new. He's been serving since 2025. So, he really wants to come in there and shake things up, I guess, in a way far worse than any previous Republican has done, because we at least didn't have previous members of Congress saying, yeah, no, it's time to nuke Gaza when they got elected. Will Trump do this? I don't know if I would put it past him in his administration. They're pretty unhinged. He's talked about some of these horrific plans with Gaza before. This obviously is some very hyperbolic nonsense promoted by the fringe of the party, the fringe of the party. This guy's also trash talked Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, just been like, yeah, super anti-Muslim, super, oh yeah, Israel good, Palestine bad, Gaza bad, the typical like far right stuff. Well, some of the other far right stuff is actually that Israel's bad, and they tend to be more supportive of Palestine because they hate Israel and they hate Jews. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy. But yeah, he's on the aggressive neocon side, the bloodthirsty neocon side of, oh yeah, Palestine bad, Israel so good, Israel gets to do whatever they want, and we should do whatever we want to punish Gaza. That's his mindset. Let me know what you think about Randy Not So Fine's outrageous statements here. Please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Morris the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.